You agreed to stay away!
I lied.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Faulty Controller. Now first things first, I do want to say I had every intention of this not being another Star Wars video. My every intention was that this episode was going to be Resident Evil Village. And by all accounts, I've got the footage, I'm in the process of writing the script, but I just haven't finished it yet. And just by coincidence, I managed to buy what I'm about to show you last weekend, and it seems the most sense to me to just get this one out so I can talk about it now, and then the Resident Evil Village one will hopefully be coming maybe in the next few weeks, give or take, you know. But I am excited to get that one out because it was such a blast to play and I can't wait to talk a bit more about it. But anyway, let's get into the reason for this video. So as some of you will know, back in December, I bought my first effects lightsaber. I don't know if you can see it here, but yeah, I bought this, which is an RGB saber from Art Sabers, which was on Etsy. There's a whole video about it. You can go there to check it out if you want to. But basically, while this is a really, really great, fun piece of kit, my ultimate goal was always to get what is called a NeoPixel lightsaber. But I'm just going to put this back. But the problem with getting a NeoPixel is the incredible price difference between an RGB and a NeoPixel, especially when you get into the character tailored designs. You know, like if you wanted an Obi-Wan or a Luke Skywalker hilt, that's when the price will skyrocket into the hundreds of pounds, sometimes thousands, which is really something I was trying to avoid. I really wanted to try and find something that was affordable, but still offered, you know, all of the actual cool effects and options that you get with a NeoPixel. So this is my new NeoPixel lightsaber. It comes from a company called Galaxy Sabers, which I believe are based in the UK. And what this means is, you know, obviously there's no conversion when it comes to dollars to pounds. It's all in UK pricing, and as well they offer free UK delivery. So amazing right off the bat, because when I bought the RGB lightsaber, I had to pay an import tax as that was coming in from China, I believe. Just to say up front, I'm going to talk all about the features now and talk about the comparisons between, but I'm going to wait until the evening when it's darker so that I can actually show these off, you know, in a dark environment to really get the best out of them. So hopefully I don't forget anything. I've got some talking points right beneath the camera on a post-it note. So let's see how we do. But anyway, let's get into the comparison. Right, so the first thing to talk about is probably what is an RGB lightsaber, what is a NeoPixel lightsaber, what is the differences? Basically, and I'm going to put some pictures up to show you, an RGB lightsaber is essentially a torch, a glorified torch in a way. The light is all produced from inside the hilt. If you look down it, it pretty much looks like a torch, and the hilt that comes with it is completely hollow on the inside. So light will come from the hilt and just emit up into the blade. And that obviously looks great, you know, it definitely still gives you that kind of turning on, emitting feeling. And obviously what I talked about in the previous video is because the blade is hollow, it means that there is no risk of damaging the light source, as it's, you know, quite deep into the hilt. You can bash around the saber all you want and you're not going to damage any of the lighting capabilities. But obviously what that does mean is that you only kind of get a glow on effect. It doesn't really give you the proper out and in effect that you see in the films. This is where a NeoPixel comes in. A NeoPixel, the blade itself has, I don't know how many it is, but it has LEDs running all the way up the blade. And what this means is that when you turn it on, bit by bit, the saber will turn on and it creates this really screen accurate look of the light coming out, and then when you retract it, it comes back in nice and smooth. So that's great. What this does mean is that the actual hilt features a lot more. It's not just a simple torch, it's a lot more of like an electronics based system. And as well, the blade also is no longer hollow because it obviously needs to store all the LEDs. And this does make it a bit heavier for sure. Not massively noticeable, like it's not like picking it up is like picking up a dumbbell. You can still swing it around with ease, but you can definitely get a small extra bit of resistance. I mean, some people might like that, some people might want a bit of more weight behind it. I found that the RGB was almost like a perfect kind of weight level. So this one is a little bit of an adjustment, but it's really not that noticeable. So worth keeping in mind, but I don't think it's gonna change anything. Obviously, when I talk about the cost, I did mention that NeoPixels are rather expensive. The RGB lightsaber only cost me about just over £100. This one's about double that, but obviously when you see the effects a bit later on, you can see where that price difference is. And honestly, the lightsaber that I've got at the moment is the cheapest NeoPixel that I've ever seen when I've been searching the web. Some NeoPixels will be obviously in American currency, but they'll be costing from like £300 to £400, whereas this one was a good bit below, which definitely was part of the reason why I felt so compelled to get it now before it ran out of stock, because Galaxy Sabers, which is obviously like the place that I bought it from, it's rather quick selling out their NeoPixels. So if you are interested, it might be worth signing up for their email alerts. I was just lucky that when I looked online, there was a hilt available and it was, you know, a design that I liked. It kind of gave me a little bit of an Obi-Wan and a Luke vibe, you know, with the thin handle to the emitter. So I really liked that. I'm not really fussed on getting character designs. Obviously you can if you want, but they're going to be much higher in demand and way more expensive. So going back to the difference in the way it emits light, I'm going to try and put a side-to-side comparison here. As you see, the way that the RGB lights up is it kind of just glows from the hilt up into the blade. You can kind of see a bit of loss in the brightness the further up the blade you get. Obviously that's just because the light is stretching to get to that end point. Whereas if I show the comparison to the NeoPixel, you can see it's perfectly lit all the way up and down the blade. Obviously you can see the difference in how it travels up and down in a really smooth looking fashion. It's actually quite unbelievable that it's so smooth to look at. And when I hold them both side to side, if I turn on the RGB one first, you know, it looks pretty bright. As soon as the NeoPixel comes on, you can start to see the brightness disappear from the RGB, and that just goes to show the difference in the quality and hence the difference in price as well. Obviously, both types of lightsaber have loads of sound fonts available. I've covered obviously the ones on the RGB one in my previous video. This one, the NeoPixel definitely comes with more and a bit of more of a variety as well. There are some similarities, you know, both have got Kylo, Rey, Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan, the Darksaber, that's on both as well. It's hard to remember how many are on this one. Some really nice additions were Darth Maul, there's a Revan sound font. There is a couple from even stuff that I'm not entirely well versed in. I'm pretty sure there was a few characters from Old Republic alongside Revan, but I couldn't actually make out the voice yet, so I'll have to research into what they actually, who they actually represent. The quality of the sound I think is quite improved as well. You also have smooth swing, which essentially is a bit more of it's a lot more reactive. So with the RGB one, it wasn't as sensitive, whereas this one really feels like you could move it the tiniest bit and you'll hear that accurate hum to your movement, which is really cool. I might put in this section here, I might just put a quick little kind of run through of all the different loaded sound fonts on, just to give you an idea. So enjoy that right now.
I've become more powerful than any Jedi. Empress Palpatine. And Dathomir will be your grave. Darth Maul. Ascension. The Dark Sword.
You're hard to get rid of.
I'll show you the dark side. Defiance. Spectrum. The dark side. My master.
You have never fought anyone like me.
I am Revan! The general, to me she is royalty.
I'm Cal Kestis.
Your destiny lies with me, Skywalker. Darkness. Rogue Commander. You are a bold one.
So in a similar fashion, both lightsabers can do certain things like, blaster deflects, kind of a lock-up state. Both can play music. They've obviously both got full LED color wheel, so you can choose exactly what color you want for certain sounds. Obviously, the difference is that the NeoPixel offers more variety and slightly more in quality as well. So for example, the music on my RGB only offered like 5 tracks, and they all seemed they weren't any of the big ones, there was no Duel of the Fates, there was no Battle of Heroes. It was I think they were more tailored to the sequels. Quite a lot of the soundtracks seemed like they were from the sequel films, basically because I didn't really recognize them as much. I've not seen those films as much as I have the others. Whereas the music on the NeoPixel, each character font has a music track selected to them. I don't know if you can actually change them yet. Again, I've not explored all the features that much, so I don't know if you can take one soundtrack and put it with another character. I'm not sure if it's locked to that character. Obviously, you can change the color as you want anyway, so it's a little bit of you could do what you want really. So for example, Darth Maul comes with Duel of the Fates to his sound font. Obi-Wan has Battle of Heroes from episode 3. Darth Sidious has his theme for his sound font. So it's a lot more variety, a lot more recognizable songs. Obviously the music's just there for extra effect. You might not want the music playing, that's fine. You don't have to have it on. It's just a nice addition to have. And to get those really iconic soundtracks in there is something that was, on the first few goes, it was pretty cool to turn on a red lightsaber to Duel of the Fates, I won't lie. Obviously, as I mentioned, both can do blaster deflects. The NeoPixel offers a bit more variety, so the RGB one, to blaster deflect, you had to have it on, you press the button and it, does a little flash and a sound effect. But you had to do that every time, if you wanted to pretend you were, say for example, blocking 3, you'd have to tap, 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 which kind of got annoying because it wasn't exactly like you want to hold a lightsaber with your thumb like that and try and, press while you're swinging. It's a bit awkward. So what the NeoPixel does, it does that same thing. You can tap it once, there you go. One cool feature that I found is that if you're swinging, you can hold the button in for 1 second while you're swinging, and then that will put it into what is called multi-blast, which essentially means that from that point on, until you deactivate it, every swing you do, it will automatically create a blaster deflection effect. So you can freely move around and you'll have that effect going, which makes it a lot more, entertaining for sure. It's quite a bit more reactive as well in terms of its clashing with the RGB, I guess because they are designed for dueling. I really felt like you had to whack it proper to get a hit effect. I actually think the first time I worked out was because I accidentally was spinning it around and I smacked the floor, and then it did a clash effect, and I was like, oh, didn't know it could do that. Whereas the NeoPixel is a lot more easy to do. You can, thrust and you'll get an effect at the end of the tip. You've got like a drag effect. So again, while you're pointing the blade down, you can hold the button and do a clash. So when you move it along the ground, the tip will be brightened while you drag it across. You've obviously got the same lockup feature as the RGB, where, you know, it just kind of glows white is obviously the impression that you're clashing with another lightsaber. There's other things like blocking lightning or a force effect, you know, the sound of a force blast coming at you. There's melting, you know, like how Qui-Gon did in Phantom Menace. So there's a lot more of a range in terms of like effects if you wanted to, you know, use them for any sort of cosplay or, you know, video content, what have you. It's really good for that kind of stuff. The color wheel is a bit of a subjective thing. I actually think I prefer the way the color wheel works on the RGB, where all you had to do was tap the button twice and the blade would start cycling through all the colors. Once it, you know, gets to the one you want, you just tap the button and you're locked in. The NeoPixel has a slightly different way of doing it. You point the lightsaber down, you hold the button and you twist. And then that activates the color wheel. And basically from there, you twist your wrist and the colors will change as you go. But to then get it back, you have to obviously do the same thing, put your lightsaber down, hold the button and twist, and you'll get the color locked in. I find this a little bit tricky. I obviously will just need to get used to it, but it's kind of a bit annoying when, if you want to get from a blue to a green, you obviously can just kind of move it in your hands, but sometimes you might have to uncomfortably twist your wrist to a point. And then I found half the time I would try and lock it in and I wouldn't be getting anything. Obviously, again, this is just because I'm not used to it. It probably gets a lot easier. Probably people who own it for years will be like, what are you talking about? It's fine. That's just a minor nitpick. I don't really think it's necessarily a problem. I'm just used to the auto cycle, but I can appreciate as well, it's really like, you know, customizable in that sense. So that's good. I don't know how the battery life is in comparison to the RGB. That was really creepy. Did you hear the door just opened? But the NeoPixel does give you a indicator, something that the RGB doesn't. So if you press the button 3 times, I believe, you will get a light appear somewhere on the blade, and that indicates the percentage of battery life left. So tip of the blade is 100%. The closer it gets to the hilt means that the battery is obviously draining. The RGB didn't give you any information about this. It just died out when it died out, and then obviously you'd have to charge it. At least with this one, you can kind of get a bit more prepared for the battery to die. Obviously, I've only had this for a few days, so it's very much I haven't, you know, seen everything that it can do, but I'm very excited to continue kind of having a look. Obviously, like I have done with my RGB, I've got some nice wall mounts from Amazon, and I've ordered another pair to just stack the NeoPixel above it. So that's a nice good way to you know, put them on display, and I can use it in the evenings for nice glow light rather than putting the, you know, I can have it as a nice LED backlight. So always a great thought to have in mind when you buy one of these. It's a fun toy, but also can, you know, be used as a display unit as well. Obviously, I know a few £100s for essentially a big glow stick sounds a bit ridiculous, but truth be told, I don't really buy much myself. Last year, I kind of just got to that point where I'm thinking, you know, I'm an adult. This is the kind of stuff that I like. So I'm going to probably be buying more stupid nerd shit like this, but it's the kind of thing that makes me happy. I like putting stuff on display. So yeah, who needs a new bathroom light when you can just spend a few £100s on a lightsaber? Because it essentially does the same kind of job. I do want to disclose that we actually have got an electrician coming. I'm not actually that irresponsible. Thanks. Anyway, I think that kind of covers it for now. I just kind of wanted to talk about this because I love, you know, talking about the things that I love. I wanted to give a comparison for anyone out there that might be thinking about looking into buying a lightsaber for the first time. Like I said, I'd recommend, if you're in the UK, Galaxy Sabers. I had no real issues. I got mine within 2 days of purchase, so that was, you know, nice to not wait for that long. Yeah, their price range seems pretty affordable in comparison to some other more American-based websites, and then of course then you have to wait for delivery and tax, and it's rubbish. So yeah, I'm really happy. I think this is going to be the last purchase of one of these for a long time. I think my girlfriend's very happy that I'm not going to be buying any more. Though I think she secretly loves them, so, you know, whatever. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Thank you for letting me ramble about stuff like this. I know that some people probably get really annoyed when I talk about it all the time on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. So this is my opportunity to put it all into one video for those who want to see it. If you've got any questions, you know, about the process, about going around it, then fire them my way. I'll see if I can do my best to help you out. But otherwise, yeah, thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you next time for what is, I'm 99% sure, is going to be Resident Evil Village. But, I mean, who knows at this point. Bye.